This is another example of me just being such a jammy bitch. I think Bali living, it's just so easy. Everything feels easy. And I think that's kind of always something that I wanted, was to wake up and to just enjoy every day. Good question. How did I get here? I think fitness was always a really big aspect of my life and something that I was really, really passionate about. When you focus on the good gets better. Calorie count all you want and you can do all the cardio and you can even lift heavy weights, but unless you fix your mindset, you're not going to be happy regardless. They probably just thought, well, she could be out fucking drinking, smoking. I was going through a lot of changes in terms of, fuck, like, who am I? So I started like putting the feelers out there in terms of, I said it to my mom, like, how would you feel if I just didn't come home?
All right, so welcome to the show. So we like to start off the question is, when you hear the word creating freedom, what does that mean to you? How do you feel about it?
I'm going to start off strong and just be really cliched. So I think my definition of freedom, and probably most people's definition of freedom, is just living life on your own accord. So having total freedom in terms of like movements. So obviously being able to work from anywhere in the world is a big bonus. So although I'm working here in a gym in Bali, I'm also online coaching as well too. So technically I do have that freedom of being able to go anywhere I want at any time that I want. And yeah, like I suppose freedom is one of my biggest values in terms of in friendships, relationships, just life in general. It's probably one of the most important things to me. If you ask me to like pinpoint my top 3 values, it'd definitely be up there.
And how are you doing with that now, like being here in Bali?
Oh, definitely a lot better than I was pre-moving here. But yeah, I think it's very easy to get sucked into the lifestyle here, into the whole Canggu bubble of things. And, you know, the lifestyle is unreal here, but I'm almost like, okay, I need to get out more and do more, because I was always like, yeah, there's so many places I want to go and so many things I want to see in the world. And then I just came here and was like, oh my God, I love life here. And I've been pretty much here ever since. So yeah, this is actually reminding me of why I came here in the first place and thinking, oh shit, I need to actually look at my 2025 goals again.
Cool. So just introduce yourself, like, you know, what's your name? Where you from?
You'd have to say your age if we don't want to. She's 16.
So my name is Hannah and I am Irish.
That's a lot.
What do you want to know? I'm an open book.
That's a good start. Like, I do love my Irish. And she's got definitely that bubbly energy. That I was saying today before we got you on to the show that she's got so much energy. She's going to bring it. And when you first come, you felt a bit nervous?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when you first asked me, I was like, I'm just a normal person. But I was like, what am I going to talk about? I'm way too normal to be here. So.
No.
What's a normal person for you?
Okay,
well,
yeah, look,
why?
When I reflect on it, I'm like, do you know what? I'm actually doing pretty fucking good with myself. Are you allowed to curse? Sorry. Can I say that?
You fucking swear. Fuck's sake. Fucking let's start this again. Okay, let's.
But yeah, I think it's gotten to the stage now where I'm like, this is a normal life for me. But then I reflect and I'm like, okay, when I think about my friends back home and majority of the rest of the world, this is probably not the most typical or normal life.
Yeah, just going back on that normal day back in Ireland, what did that look like?
So before I came to Bali, I was actually a full-time primary school teacher. So I had a very big transition when I came here in terms of pretty much every sense of my life. But one of the biggest ones was in terms of occupation. So online coaching full-time. And then obviously I've got a couple of hours in wrong gym doing PTing and a little bit of classes on the side. So
Yeah. So
different.
tell me about your experience with being a teacher. Tell me.
I actually loved teaching. Like, I loved my job. But I never really felt like it was end goal. I never thought this is a career that I could see myself in for life. So it was always kind of like something that appealed to me, definitely. And I loved working with kids, and like, there's definitely a lot of similarities between the two in terms of you have to be high energy and like you're obviously leading in both terms, but it was more so a job that people considered to be safe and secure. And, you're always going to be able to get a job easy, and, you're going to have, that monthly wage coming in, and it's going to be steady and consistent and safe. So
how did you realize that that's not the way? I mean, what was the click?
That's a good question. I think at the back of my mind, I always knew that isn't like actually a life that I wanted, but it is very hard to break free from that.
From the system.
Yeah. Like, where do you start? How do you go about it? What do you actually do?
And what did you do to do that?
Good question. How did I get here? I think, so I originally planned to come out here just for a holiday. So, teachers, all the fucking holidays during the year. So my plan was during my 2 months, I'd just come here, spend a bit of time. I'd been here back in, oh God, it was years ago. I was probably 18 or 19 and I loved it. And it was always like, okay, I'm going to come back there someday. So my plan was to come back here, spend the 2 months. And then I didn't really know where I was going to go from there. But yeah, about a week before I left, I was kind of thinking, this is something you want to do. You don't want to stay in Ireland. Why not just take this as the first step and see where you end up? So I started like putting the feelers out there in terms of, I said it to my mom, like, how would you feel if I just didn't come home? She was like, what do you mean by that? Like, you're just going to disappear off the face of the earth? And I was like, I'm not dying. But yeah, like, how would you feel if I just moved elsewhere? Because I came from like, I was still living at home with my parents. I was in no way, shape or form independent. Like, I'll hold my hands up and say that. Like, I relied on my friends. I relied on my family. I'm really, really close with my mom. So yeah, I was babies.
Yeah.
Like, big time.
What was that? I mean, what was the inspiration? Because you don't just, hey, look, I'm going to go elsewhere or just fly elsewhere. Was there somebody inspirational that like, put that seed into your head, or, did you come across it? How did you come across it anyways?
I don't know. Like, I had been here a couple of years previously.
Okay.
So it was always somewhere that I was like, such an unreal place. Like, I had the best time ever when I was here. And then I suppose that year that I came out here originally, I had like just broken up with a long-term boyfriend, and I was going through a lot of changes in terms of, I was kind of like, fuck, like, who am I? And as cliche as it sounds, I was kind of like, I'm not sure who I am or who I want to be. And yeah, I just thought, what better way to figure out who I am, as cliche as it sounds, than, having to go and be by myself and do something like that, which I had never done ever before. Like, so I used to be like very, very, very high anxiety levels. And I found it like just really difficult to do anything by myself. So like, let's put it this way. If I had to go to Tesco's, right, let's make it Indonesian. If I was going to Pepito, like, I would need someone to accompany me. Like, I couldn't do things by myself. I was constantly surrounded by other people. I just never really existed by myself. And I think I kind of tied my identity to other things. So originally my identity was like, I am a teacher. That's who I am. And then like, even just finding out who I was outside of life with my ex as well too, I was kind of like, oh my God, I don't know who I am or who I want to be. So yeah, I was just like, okay, how am I going to find out?
That's really interesting, because I always say to people, because they always ask me about this traveling stuff, I say that you're a product of your environment. A lot of people think that I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
And they'll say who they think they are. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's only because where you are. But if you were somewhere else in the world, you'd be different kind of thing. It's like, I think you learn so much more about yourself when you travel. And, like you say, you can't rely on someone.
Yeah.
Like when I went traveling, there was no one to ask, should we go left or should we go right? You got to make all these decisions on your own. So it really kind of builds you into maybe the more realer you, who you are. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
So going back to your identity, right? You strongly associated yourself with, being a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And what was it? What was that? Was there a moment in time where you're like, that you had enough because you loved it, right? But there was there's this transition that I'm missing that I want to know and find out. Like, there must be, you'd broken up with your boyfriend. That was probably strongly attached. That was probably your identity as well with your boyfriend.
Yeah, definitely.
Was it that like sparked it? That was like,
I think it definitely could have been. Like, we were together long term, basically grew up together. So when it came to like existing by myself and actually having to do things alone, I was just a bit lost in a lot of different ways. Like, that's when I was like, okay, that's probably when I became a little bit more serious in terms of training and wanting to gain that bit of control back on my life, because it just kind of felt like I was lost and I didn't really know how to find out who I actually was. So then any aspect of my life that I could control, I went all in on. And that wasn't necessarily a good thing or a positive thing for a period of time.
Tell me, because the whole concept of like going all in is like, you have to let everything go and just like commit to that.
Yeah.
I see that as a positive light, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
for you, not so much. Tell me.
It really depends. It depends on how you go about these things. So obviously, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to create this whole new version of myself. What does the best version of me look like? And that was, a lot of that, I think, was I was really, really, really insecure. And it came down to my physical appearance. So I was like, right, well, I'm going to hit the gym hard. I'm going to control every aspect of my life that I can control to the T. So that just led to like seriously restrictive lifestyle. So we were going the opposite and it was really like quite unhealthy. So I lost a lot of weight. And I was just controlling everything that I could control. And that looks like controlling my diet, controlling, what I did in terms of just going to the gym, putting all my time in the gym, but in an obsessive way, so an unhealthy way.
So you had an issue where you were you were conscious of like how you looked.
Yeah, I just got really, really insecure. And I don't really know what it came from or where it sparked, but it was like the one aspect of my life at that time that I could control was, or at least what I thought was, my weight. So I just put all of my energy into focusing on that.
I'm keen with that because because comparison comes in, like you do that. So comparing and comparison, what were you comparing against? Was it something, I guess, the lifestyle or the people around you?
TV, magazines?
Maybe. I think subconsciously it was definitely like, there is that idea that the smallest version of you is the best version of you. And, especially growing up as girls, you're like, oh, skinny is beautiful. And you want that, especially back then, it was all about having like that thigh gap and being like, just ultimately the smallest version of you is the best version of you. And I just totally bought into that. But I'm so glad that I did, because I wouldn't be where I am today without having that experience. And because of that, so obviously I'm an online fitness coach now, but my whole concept is trying to pull girls away from that idea and just to realize that there is so much more to life than, trying to be the smallest version of yourself. Because when you I think I realized that you can calorie count all you want and you can do all the cardio and you can even lift heavy weights, but unless you fix your mindset, you're not going to be happy regardless. So it all came back to your mindset.
Yeah, and it seems like you quite self-aware of that. Did you have anybody to sort of guide you along that way, or was it just you yourself?
At the time, no. Like, and I don't think at the time I didn't realize it was unhealthy at all. So I thought like I was doing the best thing for me. And I didn't realize till I came through the other side, and I was obviously reflecting how unhealthy it was. But I think when you're in that moment as well too, it's very hard for the people around you to actually be able to call you out on that and say, oh, look, maybe this is, you know, not the healthiest way to be going through a breakup or to be, you know, trying to deal with things. And I think as well too, they probably just thought, well, she could be out fucking drinking, smoking, getting up to all sorts. So she's spending her time in the gym and she's counting her calories and she's doing the XYZ. So she could be a lot worse.
And that's hilarious, because when I was in Ireland, yeah, and I was drinking at like 2 a.m.
Don't get me wrong, I was doing all that too.
She's Irish.
So, the people around you when you were, because I think the quite the norm was to go drinking. Is this an Irish thing, right? You got this
Culture.
We don't come to crack.
You've got a stereotype of that you're doing that. Understand the Aussies have the same, Brits as well. But what were the people around you thinking, or did they say anything to you? You know, did they support you? Did they not support you?
That's a good question. I don't think like the people around me ever sort of changed, regardless of, you know, when I was probably at my unhealthiest and unhappiest to how they are today. Like, I am very lucky in the sense that when I lived in Ireland, I did still have a great life. Like, I loved my life when I was at home. I had an amazing support group, amazing friends, amazing family. So it's not a case where I was like unhappy in terms of those aspects of my life. It was just internally.
Correct.
So like that was the ultimate issue. Like, I was really insecure, like had so much anxiety. Just my mindset was really poor. And I don't think I realized it, but I was like, had such a negative mindset. And now, like, it's funny because I would say I'm a totally different person. Like, if you were to meet anyone today, I don't think anyone would describe me in any way, shape or form like that. Like, I think I am quite a positive person nowadays, but I had a total shift in comparison to what I was when I was back home.
Yeah, because when I asked you to ask some questions, like the questions we asked you, I was like, wow, well, this is like a totally different person. So I was like, wow, this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
When I see you on the gym floor, you have so much energy. You always got the energy, you know, you're so bubbly, confident. So it's like, you know, when I was reading some of the stuff that you was writing, I was like, wow, you know, this is going to be interesting.
I know.
You never know.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that when you were, you know, you had anxiety, what were the things you were telling yourself, you know, if I can ask? You know? This
is the thing, and I think this is what made it so frustrating from my perspective as well too, is it was probably the worst when I was in university. And like, I loved my college degree. I loved studying. Like I said, I had all of the things that would equate to a happy life. But I was just woke up every day and like had that anxiety, and that was the most annoying thing for me. Is I was like, you have a good life. Like, you have so much more than the average person. I was surrounded by so much love, and like, I really did have a good life, but I just couldn't shake it. And I couldn't shake that feeling. And then that was obviously made it even worse, because I was like, you shouldn't be like this. You have a good life. You have all of the things that, you know, everyone else in life wants. So like, why do you wake up every day and you're so like heavy? It was just, yeah.
Did you shake that off before you took the trip, or did you shake it off after the trip? I mean, when you got here, or was it like a bit of both?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And like, that's not to say, like, I still wake up and have days here while I'm like really anxious, but I think I'm really good at masking it now. Fake it till you make it.
So you see, like you're so you decided to take this trip,
Yeah.
take the jump. What was the people like around you? Like, did you have, I know you said a bit about your mum, but do you have any friends who or might have been saying like, you know, this might not be a good idea or trying to doubt stuff because other people, like it's always about fear. So many people watching this now want to do or live the life that we're living.
Yeah.
But they have these fears, they have these doubts and stuff like that. I mean, did anyone around you have that same thing towards you?
Definitely. Like even before I came out, it was only literally in the lead up. We're talking a couple of days before I was coming out here that I thought maybe I just won't come back after the 2 months. Maybe I'll just see where I end up. And when I did start kind of saying that, I only said it to like a handful of people. So most people just thought I was going and then would come back. So yeah, like even my manager at the time, and I thought because I knew like from his life as well too, that when he was young, he traveled, he met his wife when he was traveling. So he was one of the first people I said it to, thinking I was going to get like such a positive response. And I was so surprised because he was like, if it was me, like I was someone who really, like I said, I wasn't independent. So I really wanted other people's opinions and I really like took them into consideration. So I really wanted ultimately someone to tell me what to do. Yeah. So I was like, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Like what would you actually do? You're me. What would you do? And then when he was like, I actually wouldn't do it. Like I wouldn't recommend it. Wow. Yeah.
Interesting. Did you find out why he said that?
Okay, yeah. So if you put it from this perspective of being a primary school teacher in Ireland, essentially if there's no permanent positions available, you work for 3 years and then you can become permanent from there. So I was coming to that 3rd year mark and he was like, security, just stick out this next year and then, you know, the world's your oyster type of vibe. And then if you want to go apply for, so you can apply for to get a career break. And then officially you can leave for the year.
Yeah, because I was thinking when you said that story as a manager, you manage people.
Yeah.
And you don't want, you want to make your life a little bit easier.
Please don't go.
Yeah.
Please don't go.
Wait.
Don't go.
So yeah, I understand. Like that's what I like assume as like a manager.
I need to give more context here, right? So bear in mind, I lived such a cushy life. I worked in my old primary school. So the school that I attended as a child, my principal was my principal when I went to school there. So like I had such a good relationship with everyone and like he knew that I was going to him in terms of not as like a manager, but like just someone who was looking for life advice. So I knew it wasn't like a typical managerial position role, if that makes sense. So that's probably important to note there as well too, is more.
Was there anyone else who maybe gave you the confidence or maybe?
My mom. Yeah, definitely my mom. So even growing up, like my mom and dad are amazing. They were so always like, you can do anything you put your mind to. Do you know that message? Like I just grew up with them being like, you can do absolutely anything. And I was just always kind of like, like I just didn't really take it into account. But like when I reflect on things like that as well, in the grand scheme of things, I think that's definitely one of the reasons why I am the way I am today as well too, is I grow up constantly hearing that. And that's,
So like, just going back to the manager thing, bro. You know, he'd given you advice, you kind of ignored that.
Yeah.
So,
it killed me, don't get me wrong. I lay awake at night being like, am I doing the right thing here? And then I just thought, fuck it. I can go for 2 months and if it doesn't work out or if I didn't like it, I could just come back home. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, we've heard that quite a lot, you know, what's the worst can happen.
Yeah.
And I actually went with that.
If you never try, you'll never know.
You never know, that's it. So do you ever remember, I might have said this before, the Dr. Pepper advert is just do it. Well, you know, what's the worst can happen kind of thing. So I always had that in my head when I was traveling. It's like, what's the worst can happen?
Yeah.
So you said that you went traveling and then you decided there that you was going to stay longer. And so you didn't come back home, you just...
Yeah, I never went back home.
And how long did you stay out for?
I was gone for over 2 years before I eventually went back home for a visit. Yeah.
So
What did your mum say?
Look, I keep in contact with that woman every single solitary day. So yeah, she was like, obviously it was really, really hard. And it was really hard for both of us because I do have such a good relationship with her. And that was definitely the hardest thing, was leaving her and saying goodbye. I got amazing friends and everything. But yeah, leaving my mom was just hard.
Does she know what you're in contact with? She knows your day to day,
Yeah.
where you're up to,
Yeah.
the boys that you see.
Yeah, she knows it all.
you should know about me.
Mom, this is Simon.
So so you got over here.
Yeah,
Was it Bali you went straight to first?
straight to.
Straight to Bali.
You had no other options, or it was.
I always thought teaching in Australia, like, once again, play it safe. You're a teacher. Every second Irish cunt goes to Australia and teaches.
I didn't know that.
So, yeah. Oh my God. Irish community over there is huge.
Yeah.
Irish teachers, yeah. I would have been sorted.
That's why they talk a bit funny out in Australia, innit?
Yeah.
And now you're you're in fitness. You work at the gym. You've got your online thing as well. So this sounds like you've worked in yourself. You've learned about yourself. You know how to overcome things, and now you're teaching.
Yeah.
Right. So how's that been, especially coming to Bali and doing a complete change from like a primary teacher to it literally is a 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, I know. I think so. Fitness was always a really big aspect of my life and something that I was really, really passionate about. But then it came back to the whole, it's not a safe job. It's not a secure job. And I just thought about, the financial aspect of things and played it safe and never really considered it from that point of view. But then when I got out here, I saw, obviously there's a lot of fitness coaches out here. So I saw, how it could be done. But not even just from that perspective. The people that I met since moving here, regardless of what industry they're in, most of them are killing it. And like, they are so hardworking and motivated. And like, I see how much passion and love they have for their job and then for their life because of that. And I just compared myself to everyone else here. And I just thought, oh my God, like everyone else out here is doing so much better than me. And I know, once again, that's another thing that you could see as a positive or you can see it as a negative. But I'd kind of started to have that mindset switch to, when you focus on the good gets better. So when I was looking at all of these people and like what they'd made of themselves and from my perspective, when I heard their stories, because obviously you start having chats with these people and you realize they are just normal people as well too. And then they have worked hard and they've gotten to that position. So yeah, I just kind of use that as my inspiration. Like the people, my friends, everyone that I have surrounding me have inspired me to get to where I am now.
Yeah, and it's really interesting you say that because, you had anxiety back then, right? And then, doing a 180 to fitness.
Yeah.
And then coming to Bali and the standard, the bar here is quite high.
Yeah.
Like, how is your confidence? Because if, you literally were comparing yourself to them.
Yeah.
You're in a position where you are now. Not everybody works at the gym. So you must be really good at what you do.
She's really good at what she does. Yeah. She's like one of the best girls on the block.
But yeah, how did you, I guess, I don't know if you overcame or you still have issues now, but like from a confidence to just go into something completely different, right?
I think,
Bali.
yeah, like I looked at the similarities between the two as well too. So you have to be able to hold a room. You have to be able to like essentially teach regardless. You have to be able to break things down, to be able to make things like really manageable. bring it down to a level that everyone could understand, especially when you're in Bali as well too. You were getting all people from all over the world, and I'm like trying to communicate sometimes in the most basic forms because I'm like, you've got fuck all English. I have no idea what you're saying. So you really have to be able to break things down. But yeah, like I always thought of both jobs as being something that is making an impact and making a difference to somebody's life. So even though you're like, oh my God, the two jobs are totally different, at the end of the day, I don't see them as totally different. Like either way, you're making a really big impact on someone's life. So
It's funny that you missed that. It's like bringing your energy. Because I think for me, that's your key thing.
Yeah.
Is that your energy is that. So, guys, we work at the same gym together. But I actually did meet you when you was at
Wanderlust. Yeah.
And I was watching these girls train. I was like, wow, these girls are beasts, man. Like, they were going hard. When I see you at the wrong gym, I just love the energy you bring. And so many of the customers, they always say, Hannah class was amazing. It's the energy, this, that. And I think your energy is, and I said that the day before you come on the show. I was like, she's got some amazing energy. Right? But anyway, there's a little thing I was thinking about. So you came over here and, it wasn't in your mind first to start doing fitness stuff. Like, so a lot of people, they always think that you got to have a plan before you come out here, this, like that. But
I had no idea. I had a couple of months where I was doing nothing, just living off savings.
And how did that happen? Like, did you have to take a course? How did you get into doing teaching that from not coming out with no plan and then getting to where you are now?
I knew the fitness industry was always something that I was interested in getting involved in, but I just didn't know how to start, where to start. And even so, my plan for the following year when I came back originally, so I thought I'd go on my 2-month trip to Bali, go for my 2-month holiday, come back, and then I'd do my PT cert back home. But I never really thought it'd be something that I would use as my full-time job. I was just like, oh my God, this is something I absolutely love. So why not invest time in it? Even if I never use it, like it'll be good for my own knowledge. Yeah. And I think that's definitely something like growing up as someone who loved education and worked in the education system was you were like, okay, I'm a lifelong learner. That's how I view myself. I'm someone who constantly wants to learn, to grow, to, have that side of things. So I thought, even if I never use this is something that I want to do, and it's going to better me regardless of whether I'm using it with other people or whether it's just for my own knowledge. So yeah, when I came out here, I was just like looking into doing it out here, and then just decided, okay, this is something I always wanted to do. Why not actually just fucking do it now? I've got so much free time. Now is the time.
Yeah. And where did you start off first? Was it Wanderlust you started off first?
Yeah.
So how did you get your foot in the door?
This is something that everybody always asks me as well too. So in terms of community in Bali, there is such a huge sense of community. So a couple of months before I left Ireland, I joined a CrossFit gym. And I think this was one of the biggest shifts in terms of my mindset towards fitness as well too. So this is when I really started pulling away from the whole concept of, being skinny is the best thing ever. And I thought, okay, being strong is actually so much better. And the only thing that felt better than seeing that number on the scales drop was seeing the weight you were lifting increase. So that kind of flicked something in me, and I started to think, strength goes so much more beyond aesthetics, and there's so much more to training than doing it for your physical appearance. And I think it's funny because now when I think about the benefits of being fit, of being strong, you think, okay, longevity, better quality of life. But when you ask someone, okay, well, why did you join the gym? Nobody ever mentions that. It's like bottom of the list. It's like, I want to look hot.
That's still will be the first one.
Yeah.
I look good.
Yeah. Right. Literally. So.
I know I look hot already, guys. I want to look better.
You're still working on that. 30 years later.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, man. But still, how did you know someone in the gym, or was you training there and they took a liking to you? How did that?
It is literally all about who you know, and yeah, ultimately your energy. Yeah. So I just joined the gym because I'd heard so much about it from before I went traveling. It's like, yeah, Wanderlust, amazing place. And, you know, everyone who travels to Bali trains there. And then there is such a good community vibe there. So I went there, I trained, we were there fucking every single day. You know yourself, it was at that stage when you didn't have much else going on. So you would train, chill there. You'd spend all day long there.
You got the sauna steam.
Yeah.
You got the swimming pool.
Yeah.
Right?
We're living the
They all there didn't even be just chilling.
I could train, but
I trained my eyes. I'm just watching now.
so when you actually came, before that, did you know anybody here when you came, or was you were just?
I love that.
Alone?
Yeah.
And how did you make friends? I guess that was one of the ways.
Honestly, I fucking owe everything to Wanderlust.
Yeah.
All of my, like, I'm really lucky in the sense that I am still friends with the same people that I met on the first couple of weeks when I came out here. And that's 2.5, 3 years ago at this stage. And Bali is such a transient place. You know, it's tourist central, especially somewhere like Wanderlust as well too. You've got hundreds of tourists coming every single day. So people come and people go. But I also met like people who have become my best friends. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's what I do love about Bali. And I mean, I get around a little bit, yeah, but it's like I was in so many...
Your camera's on, yeah?
You never heard that? No, but I went to Soma Gym, so the community there, and the Soma Gym is a fight gym. But then I used to go to Wanderlust because the steam room, the sauna and the swimming pool and all that, it was really, really cheap. But like, the community there was amazing as well. And like you said, there's people I was seeing every day, and there was this one guy, shame can't remember his name, but he goes backward and forward from Australia. And, every time he comes, he messages me, I learn to see him down there, have a little chat. And I love the community things.
Everyone tends to be so like-minded as well, too. So I think that's one of the reasons why the friendships are so strong. So obviously when I go back home, I've got my amazing group of friends and people that I grew up with, but it's totally different here in terms of
wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing in Bali. Is it's the wavelength for people. Everyone's on this good energy. I think maybe like the Indonesian Balinese people here, they mostly set the foundations on this, and that we come here and we make sure we feel that energy and act the same way. Everyone's on this happy, good level.
Yeah, and I think you kind of mentioned it earlier as well too. But like, you are the sum of the group of people that you spend your time with.
Yeah.
So you really do need to think wisely about that.
So you you mentioned a couple of times you were a normal person, right?
Just a normal girl.
I guess
Simply normal. Which that's it. So it is.
so yeah, the normal, right? Like, like now this is the norm for you, but really just not going back, but what would you say to somebody, who is normal? Because I've met so many teachers along my journey.
Yeah.
And they just don't know what to do because they're stuck in that secure, they're secure. And I know they want something. They tell me they want something, but they just don't know what the next step is for them to actually, create freedom in their life.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice based on your experiences or anything that you could share with them to at least think about,
Yeah. Well, I suppose I wasn't even 100% sold on fitness when I first got here. I was quite lost in the sense of I didn't know what I wanted from life at all when I first came out here. So that was just kind of a time when I think normally you would think about that and you would think, okay, that's terrifying. You don't know what you want. But I just kind of had to, once again, come back to the whole mindset thing, change the whole mindset around that. So you just had to shift it to being really exciting. So you have the opportunity to literally try anything. And if it works and you love it, great, go for it. But if it doesn't, I'm only young. I'm in my 20s. I can try something else.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen?
here we go again.
Yeah,
That's-
literally.
Yeah, that's going to happen, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, yeah, a lot of, even myself as well, it's what's the worst that happened, right? Like a couple of grand just to get back and you'll be back in a day.
Exactly.
Back in a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's, well, for me, it's going back to that shitty weather.
Yeah.
Because, oh, man.
But and in that as well, like, do you, like Ireland would be the same type of weather?
We're
The same.
cousins.
Do you find yourself like working harder because you don't want to go back to this shitty weather? Or is it?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm also one of these people who was like, I will make it work, regardless of, situation. And even obviously when I came out here at first, I didn't financially, I wasn't in a very secure place. I didn't have a job. But if you want something, you'll make it work. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people will use as excuses. And they'll think, oh, you have to have money. You have to have this. You have to know someone. But you don't. I'm like, I promise you, I didn't have money when I came out here. But you just make it work. Like, anything's possible if you want it bad enough. And similar enough, I am not someone who likes an Irish winter, and I can't hack the cold, and I fucking hate the dark. And yeah, I'm not about that 9-to-5 lifestyle. So
Yeah.
You're going to come up with ideas to make sure you don't go home.
yeah. If you want anything bad enough, you'll make it happen.
Yeah, 100%.
And so now you also mentioned you got this online stuff as well.
Yeah.
I'm online, or I do a lot of stuff in the digital space.
Link in bio.
Sorry.
But, as a teacher, like going sort of online, there's actually a huge learning curve as well, like getting online. Like, how did you sort of navigate that?
This is another example of me just being such a jammy bitch. So honestly, the amount of opportunities that came to me when I came out here is just insane. Because I would not have had, I don't want to say any of these opportunities back home, but it's just not the same. So when I came here, like I said, I met so many driven businesswomen, businessmen who are like amazing at what they do and really hardworking. So from there, and actually, once again, bringing it back to Wanderlust, but that's where I would have met a lot of people and just had conversations with, and then would have become good friends with people. And then that's actually how I ended up going into the whole online realm. Is I work for an Australian online coaching company called Reform. So I met one of the girls, Reform Body Coaching.
Oh no, is it? It's not Reformers Pilates.
No.
Oh no, I have to cut that one out.
I'll ask more about that later.
Yeah.
But sorry.
Did you sign up to that one, Dave?
No, let's just continue.
Yes,
Fuck. Oh shit.
Okay, circling back. One of the people that I met in the gym is actually my current boss. So she would have met her through the gym, would have became good friends or whatever. And then she asked randomly out of the blue one day, have you ever thought about online coaching? And I was like, fuck yeah, but I have no idea where to get started. I would have always put myself as someone who, I never saw myself as a businesswoman. I had no desire to learn about accounts or any of this shite. Like, I love helping people. Simple as. I didn't want to learn about, any of the actual sales aspect of things. And honestly, that's, a bit of an issue. So when she came to me and was like, okay, well, this is actually quite perfect because I'm looking to hire, and same thing again, it comes down to the whole energy things. She was like, I think you'd be a good fit. So yeah, had a bit of an interview process from there. And then, that's how it all started out for me in the online world. But same type of thing. It was always something that I wanted to do and just didn't know how to go about starting. Now I say this, but even my crew out here were always on me like, you just need to start recording more content, start posting yourself more. And I had so many people who were doing this, doing it really successfully, were telling me exactly what to do. And yet I still had this resistance to actually doing it. Because I was like, oh, like, what's everybody else going to think? And yeah, that whole insecure side of me was there. And I was like, oh, like, you know, I was just worried about what other people would think.
Yeah. And when was that time? Because you get to a point where, you know, you're holding back, but then you finally just throw in the towel and be like, look, I have to actually record content.
Yeah. And like, this wasn't even that long ago. So you're talking like a year and a half, a year ago, and I was still like really uncomfortable with the thought of that. But yeah, like at the end of the day, you just have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, wicked. And that was one of my questions, was like getting into business as well, because that's a whole different game. Yeah. And it sounds like you've grown and overcome things yourself, and the opportunities that come, and you just sort of say yes is actually amazing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good on you.
Well, no risk, no reward. I think it all just leads back to me changing my mindset from being like, I was such a catastrophizer. Like, I would just focus. If anything went wrong, I would just be like, oh my God, you know, and obviously I wasn't going to have a very positive life when I just focused on the negative things and constantly thought about, oh, I wish I had this, or I wish I could do that. And then changing to just switching up the mindset to focus on the positive things that were happening instead. And then it literally did just attract more positive things into my life. So
it's amazing. So now, like, you know, we've heard all the stories that, and now you're living here.
Yep.
Give people like a little, I don't know, a picture of what your life is like now. Because you're living, would you say you're living that life for freedom, the life that you was looking for?
Definitely. Yeah.
So what's your, like, your day-to-day, what's your life like in Bali now?
My life, I think Bali living, you know yourself, it's just so easy. Everything feels easy. And I think that's kind of always something that I wanted, was to wake up and to just enjoy every day.
What I do.
Yeah.
And every morning I see you like in the gym quite early. What time are you like normally there?
I like to be there for like 6
She's doing her squats with her friends. All her friends are the same. They're all buff. Like, and I look at her like, wow. But yeah, man, I always see you so hard on it. But what else do you do outside the gym? Because I only see you in the gym most of the time.
I fucking hate that question. I'm like, what do I do? It's just Bali living. Like, if I'm not in the gym.
People don't know what Bali living is. I know what Bali living is. That's why I'm living it.
You are just... Okay, so obviously I spend a lot of my time doing my online work, and I've got my check-in calls with my clients and all of that side of things. But the beauty of it is it doesn't matter whether I'm working outside from the pool or, you know, working on the beach. I can do it wherever.
Here.
Yeah. Exactly. So
do you actually work on the beach as well then? Like?
People can never get their head around this. So even, I always bring it back to, I think this is the reason why. When we were during lockdown, I wrote my thesis for like university outside, and it was like the period when it was like crazy hot in Ireland. So it was basically like 22, 23 degrees, but this was wild for us. And I was just like, I'm going to work on the tan. So yeah, I wrote my dissertation outside, and ever since then I've been able to work outside. So that's the reasoning behind it.
Weekends? do you go out partying, or do you go on ventures? Like, what's your weekends like?
A little bit on everything. So this is the thing as well, because I went from such a restricted lifestyle, and there was once upon a time where I, you know, was really strict in terms of calorie counting and didn't really go out and live my life to the full potential. So now I make sure I do all of that. So I'm all about balanced lifetime in terms of going out, partying. I still love drinking every once in a while. I just don't do it all the time.
Culture.
It's just all about balance. And then, Bali is the perfect place for being able to go and explore, whether it's going off to, you know, see new places, checking out waterfalls, going to beaches. Yeah, we live the life.
Yeah, so everyone's getting a great picture of how great it's been. But What has been like? Has there been any hard challenge that you come against since traveling? Like,
Definitely.
what's one of your hardest moments? Should I say? Is there like a moment?
I think it's just an accumulation of the little things that like would make you homesick. So the likes of, obviously, you get sick every now and again, which could happen to you wherever you are in the world. And then it's times like that when you're on the other side of the world from your family that you're like, oh God, the things I do to be able to go home. And even just trying to start off here was obviously hard because, like I said, it's not like I came out here with a load of money or even an idea of what I wanted to do. So, I did have that stage where I felt really lost. But yeah, like I said, I just flipped my mindset on that one. Was like, okay, you just have to embrace that uncertainty. And how lucky am I that I get to go and trial different things and find what I actually love. So...
Hey guys, so we've had an amazing guest on. Look, thanks for watching. For next week, we'll have another episode with another guest as well. In the meantime, to subscribe and listen to us on Spotify, Apple. Until next time, guys, chat to you. Ciao.